Bitcoin's alive, what you gon' do? Mempool fees are high. Ordinal. Where does it stop? Nobody knows. It's a revolution, ayy. Bitcoin is the one, no substitution, ayy. With Shizzy and Yagobi, it's Ordinal Revolution.
Welcome back to Ordinal Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin Ordinal ecosystem. What is up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live for another Ordinal hour, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. We got DotSwap here, and they are going to be kind of giving their background, their interview. It's really going to be really good, and we're really excited to have DotSwap. DotSwap is one of the leading swaps in the space. They're doing some pretty amazing jobs. They have a partnership with Xverse, and we're going to get into all that stuff, and we're really excited. But without further ado, let me bring in my partner here, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, man?
What's up, dude? So we got DotSwap here. We've been talking to DotSwap for a long time. We've been watching them, really kind of peeking in and out. I mean, they've been around forever, right?
Yeah, they've been around since the opportunity has been here for possible DeFi type environment on Bitcoin, or at least that DeFi experience, even if it is kind of centralized, right? Because that's what we're working with Bitcoin's limitations. And I got to hand them, give them their credit, because, they didn't just go away and say, okay, Bitcoin's too hard. They hung around, they kept building, they kept trying to partner with different projects that could integrate with them, and now they're starting to get a lot of attention, right? So I'm happy for them and their team. They kept knocking on the doors, and finally some of these doors are opening now for them.
Yeah, it seemed like for a while, people weren't really talking about them. We always knew about them, right? But they just weren't getting the traction that they deserve. And you're right, I think they're finally getting the traction, and they're getting the attention that I mean, when you're building this long in the background, especially in something like Ordinals, where it's been really quiet, especially the last couple months, it's really cool to see something really kind of shine in the darkness.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, man. All right, let's bring them in. Lin, welcome to Ordinal Revolution.
Hi. Thank you, Shizzy and Yagobi. Nice meeting you here.
Yeah, nice to see you as well. We met you in Nashville at the Sandbar, and that was a pleasure to meet you for sure. But you and DotSwap has been getting a lot of attention lately. But before we get into DotSwap, if you wouldn't mind, give us in the audience some background of what you have done in the past and led up to DotSwap.
Yeah, okay. So I got into Bitcoin business. It's just like I got into Bitcoin since 2011. And at that time, I just saw that, okay, Bitcoin is a cool invention, right? It is first time maybe possible for us to use the computer hardware, right, to change the world. Okay, so I really fascinated about the idea behind Bitcoin and how Bitcoin can transform the whole world economy. Then on 2016, I set up the Bitcoin company. It is like several men. Actually, the company has 2 men. Yeah, working towards building applications on Bitcoin. First, we think that we might build the poker game on Bitcoin, right? Using the Bitcoin transactions or things like that. But the higher fees kills it. Then we move to like trying to use Lightning Network, but after several months of study, we think that the payment channel, the state channel model cannot work in a scalable way. All right. And then we move on to like big blocks like Bitcoin Cash, then end up in Bitcoin SV. Currently, it is about last year we noticed that, okay, there is some protocol called Ordinals. Although I still think Ordinals a little dumb about their rare sets, right? About their rare sets and all the calculation about the sets, right? But the idea of putting more data on embedded into transactions and make it publicly traceable to the broader audience is very good, right? So we start to look at that kind of innovation happen on BTC. And that is because the BTC has very good adoption and has larger audience, right? Larger user base, right? So Ordinals is first we are looking at. Then with BRC20. So I I still recognize that okay, there are limitations to build marketplaces for BRC20, right? Because all those marketplaces, although they are trustless, but with the limitation of you have to purchase any you don't have the way to purchase any amount. You have to purchase in bulk, right? And you cannot trustlessly to get a buying order, right? You cannot put the bidding order. You can just put asking. Then you have to wait for some buyer to purchase your order, right? So this kind of limitation actually it really hurts the liquidity of the token itself, right? Like BRC20. Okay, so I'm still thinking if we can build something to try to um, improve that to solve the liquidity problem. Then we find a way that okay, first we can have a centralized way so that make everyone deposit into our uh, custody. Then we can make some swap like experience. This is our first version. Okay, back in last year, September. Okay,
Mhm.
then after several months, we improved that to make a more trustless version of a trustless swap between BRC20 and BTC. Then this year, when we find okay, we can build things on Runes protocol. Okay, the Rune protocol is good and it is very high efficiency, especially building transactions. You only need one transaction, not two, right? So okay, we find that we can easily to adopt this model on Rune protocol. Then we release our first version of Rune Swap on the day one when Rune protocol activated. So DotSwap for runes is live since this April, and yeah, it is a company with Rune protocol all the way until now. Yeah, that's
Awesome.
Awesome.
the background. Yeah.
So when you said you have to do 2 transactions with the BRC20s, you're talking about the transfer inscription, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And was that hard to deal with back then, dealing with that when that was the only protocol that was really swappable?
Oh, I would say that it won't be so many differences, right? But yeah, I just think a more complex protocol is better, much better to deal with. And of course, we can reuse the UTXO model just like BTC, and those token value are embedded into the UTXO, so make it much like the BTC transaction itself and has the protection of double spending by UTXO. So it is a little better than those model with block sequence, right? They have to indexing the block to find out which transaction is valid. But
Yeah.
the UTXO model is better. We don't have to indexing the whole block to find out which transaction is valid. The UTXO model does that for us, right?
Yeah. That's interesting because that point doesn't really get brought up too much whenever you
No.
are comparing BRC20s to runes, and the fact that one's an accounting system, the other is the UTXO model. The accounting system, you have to actually go through the entire block to make sure that the sequence is correct, versus the UTXO model, which does it for you, and it's almost like in its natural state for Bitcoin. So probably could have used that yesterday in your argument, Shizzy. But let's talk about this. So recently, I would say for the past month and a half, 2 months, DotSwap has gotten a lot more attention from other builders. Why do you think that's the case? What is the reason why DotSwap is getting more attention from other runes builders?
So I just think that it is the market needs, right? Everyone hates the experience of just put your asking order on marketplaces and wait, right? And wait maybe infinitely. So when they find that okay, we can purchase anytime, right? We can purchase anytime, we can sell instantly and in any amount, that is game changing. So they are more want to know more about the backend and what we are doing, how we can do this magic. So when they realize that okay, it is a trustless swap between the liquidity pool and the user, so there is no counterparty risk. So that actually grab their attention. So they might think that it is a okay, it's a solution for their liquidity.
Interesting. So you say that is it completely trustless or mostly trustless right now?
Yeah, complete trustless.
Okay, could
You
you
when you
explain?
make the sorry, when you
Could
make
you?
the
Yeah.
okay, when you make the transaction, right, you can check every criteria to see if the price and token is matching, and you can approve that PSBT in short time. So the swap itself is atomic and trustless.
Okay. So, when I think trustless, I think that if you're going to use a multi-sig approach for liquidity pools, that you're going to have validators. Is that what you guys are using? Multiple, like an MPC type approach for the liquidity pools, or what is your approach for that?
Okay, so our liquidity pool part is more centralized or still centralized. We are
Gotcha.
adopting the multi-sig and the MPC in our co-wallet just to protect those assets uh, from our
Hack.
custodian, right? So that it is very hard to be hacked. It is the way. But we are not announcing that, okay, so that it is a decentralized way of doing it. No, it is still a centralized way. It's just to get rid of the private key controlling of the cold wallet, right? To make everything under our control using MPC, something like that. Yeah. So it is not a way that we saw that those multi-sig or any key rotating or so many fancy skills can be considered decentralized.
Yeah. I mean, they try, right, because multi-sig with the Bitcoin's limitations seem to be one of the only options to try to get
Yeah.
to decentralization. But what you're stating is not necessarily liquidity pools, but from the interaction between buyer, seller, that there's no middle person. It's trustless in that way, to where the PSBTs, I can, want to buy something, the seller signs it, and then transaction done, right?
Yeah. So of course we can build a fully trustless solution. Yeah, it is possible and we can build that, but just with the limitation that we cannot build it very efficient. Like we can always bring in more inputs for market makers, right? And those inputs can check the PSBT first, then sign their inputs to authorize this swap. Then we put the PSBT to the user side and sign by them. Okay, so we can build a fully trustless swap between the market maker and the user. We could not say that it is an AMM model, right? But still, it is a trustless swap between multiple parties, but with the limitation that all the process that requires every party to be online to check the PSBT and sign the transaction first. Then the limitation is that will greatly increase the size of the transaction. So very high transaction fee. If back to that area when the transaction fee is already very high, right? Then it makes the whole solution pointless, right? So we choose this centralized way of doing it. Is engineering, like it has engineering trade-offs, right? So we just choose that to be balanced between the safety and decentralization, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah, man. Let's jump into like the growth of the of DotSwap. Are you guys seeing a lot of people come in and add liquidity? Are you seeing a lot more swaps happening? Can you talk about the volume of the swap?
So the volume is right now on our platform is almost 1 Bitcoin daily, which is pretty
Wow.
small. Yeah, but it focused on the majority pairs like dog, right? So we can say that if there are larger transactions happen, larger volume happens on the swap, and the liquidity pool is relatively smaller, then you have very high APY for that. Yeah, I would say in past days, maybe the APY yield for dog can be like 200% yearly without
Wow.
compounding. Yeah,
That's without
sometimes
compounding.
yeah, it is very high, and even low time like we only trade 0.1 or 0.2 BTC daily for dog, then the API can be like 50 to 60% without compounding. Yeah, I think it is a pretty good yield.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you see a lot of small yields, or do you see a lot more bigger ones? And I mean, like, do you see people coming in with like thousands of dollars, or do you see some smaller guys come in with a couple hundred here and there
Yeah,
for the
yeah, yeah,
LP? Yeah.
yeah. There are always some very small LPs. They try to put a little pairs, right? A little
Yeah.
tokens
To
there
test
to
it.
see how it comes out.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing that I noticed more specifically was that you had some pretty big brands in the rune space integrate with you or partnerships with integration. One of those is Liquidium. The other biggest one, in my opinion, is Xverse, right?
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big statement from two big branded projects. Are you looking more from from your company DotSwap? Are you looking more to be a swap platform for everybody, or more looking to be a B2B integration product?
Yeah, I want to be B2B first because they provide utility and liquidity for projects is much much more important than end user currently. So we are trying to we can outsourcing our manpower even to develop some feature for projects if they have trouble with PSPTs with swaps. Yeah, that is what we can do. And if we can connect different projects, then we will create a very vivid Bitcoin ecosystem. It is like when we talk about the collaboration with Liquidium. Right? Take that for example. So if someone with just dog in their wallet and they want to get some yield, they don't have BTC, so they can directly maybe go to Liquidium to find some loans willing to lend their BTC. Okay, so they can borrow BTC from Liquidium, then paired with stock, put into the liquidity pool to earn some yield, and then pay the BTC by the yield.
Hmm.
Is it okay? I think it is pretty awesome. We create real utility for those
Yeah.
tokens because it can create more yields.
Yeah.
Then there will be more demands for the for for the lending, right? For lending and borrowing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's real DeFi, right? That's decentralized finance at its best.
I,
And you just
I'm not
that
sure.
example is perfect. I mean, technically, right? It's
Well,
finance,
it still
decentralized.
does. It still comes back to kind of the central point, but
Yeah.
I think it's as close as we can get with the current Bitcoin limitations, right?
Yeah.
So that's the biggest objective right now. So, and that actually rolls to my next question for you. You're somebody that has built on bigger block chains that have mimicked Bitcoin, like Bitcoin Cash, BSV. With Bitcoin probably not increasing their block size for a very, very long time, if they ever do, even if we add Opcat or other op codes to Bitcoin, do you think we could ever create a Solana type experience on Bitcoin, or will it have to be scaled out to a different layer?
Yeah, I would think that the layer layer one and layer two can coexist, and layer one will be the bridge of different L2 protocols, right? You still
Mhm.
have to move your tokens, your funds between different layers. Okay, but all those good user experience will happen on L2 probably, and with the help of Opcat, then we can create somehow like trustless bridge between BTC and other UTXO structured token, uh, UTXO structured blockchain, which can support the ZK verifier or Stark, all those things, all those fancy things that BTC might not support forever, but we can have that on other advanced blockchains. Then move your money, your BTC, trustlessly between the two blockchain using two-way pact and zero knowledge proof or something like that. That only enabled by Opcat. So if we can have Opcat, then actually we can have that kind of experience between like BTC and some sidechain or some L2s. And your funds will not be limited on one L2. It can we can create some cross-chain atomic swap just like what we are doing right now here to make your funds movable, swappable between different L2s directly. So it is infinite possibilities that we can create around Bitcoin.
Would that be done using smart contracts on Bitcoin, though?
Yeah, you can say that if you are a little familiar with Lightning Network, right? So part of that experience is like Lightning Network, but scalable because we are not maintaining the state channels of chain. We just move all those state channels to another blockchain, right? Then we can have scalable version of that to be very cheap and very fast. Okay, and then when you are backing to the BTC blockchain, using some proof or some settlements back to the mainnet to make your transaction settled. So it is pretty like the Lightning Network, but without the routing pieces
Yeah.
of Lightning, which is the bad
Main
part of.
problem.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people talk about Lightning, and the reason why, in my opinion, that it hasn't been scaled or used to scale Bitcoin is because of the channels. You have to maintain the channels, right?
Yeah.
And that's a pain in the butt, right? And sometimes you can get Bitcoin and your funds stuck in a Lightning channel for days. So, but I really do appreciate that you have that experience from working on big block UTXO model chains, and it gives me a lot more confidence in what you're building now because you've already built in these areas. You even tried Lightning before. So, what I'm viewing for a future of Bitcoin with Opcat is still very optimistic, still very positive, because I feel like at that point, you're not going to get the degen Solana type experience for trading tokens so fast like that. But what you can do is actually have legitimized interest bearing accounts now that are automatic through smart contract and on chain computation. Is that how you see the on chain economy for Bitcoin later?
So I would say that the Bitcoin, the smart contract, all those for Bitcoin is quite different from Ethereum.
Yeah.
On Ethereum side, you can delegate your tokens to some kind of smart contract, right? But on Bitcoin, there's so not that way you delegate your tokens to. It is only happen between parties. So the cryptographic protocols happen between peers. It is a peer-to-peer exchange protocol that can help both sides to have trustless swap, some to get rid of some intermediate, to save your cost. All those things can happen on Bitcoin. So the decentralized way, like to build an AMM to build the swap, will be like we can introduce more market makers in one transaction, right? It is still a decentralized way. So we are not thinking about we put more logic on chain, put more calculation on chain. All these things can be offloaded to off-chain agents. Then both parts can agree on some consensus or some communication channels between them to find a common ground that they can make trade. Then we have protocols help them to facilitate facilitate
Felicitate. Yeah.
yeah the
Facilitate.
yeah sorry about my English. So
No worries.
to make it work between different parties, it is still decentralized, but another decentralized way other than Ethereum.
Yeah. That's interesting because when Udi talks about cat VM, that's exactly what he says. He says a lot of the computation will be off chain, and if you can use a smart contract at that point to point to data off chain, and then both sides can come to consensus, then that's where the execution part can take place. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So it is like trustless bridge or all those things can happen in that way. But we still think that even if we can offload all those computations off chain, still we have to gain somehow consensus among different parties, right? So we still need other blockchain, other solution to make it happen. So it is like cryptographic of HTLC, those hash locks makes the Lightning Network consensus.
Mm.
So we still need some kind of cryptographic consensus. Maybe it is zero knowledge proof or something like that. Right? The more public of all traceable of all those records, may need to easier consensus between parties. That easier means lower validation cost. The lower the cost it will be, then it is much easier for more participants to get in.
Yeah, 100%. At the end of the day, Bitcoin will be used for finality as it always has been.
Yeah,
In my opinion.
if we have sort of criteria like the block size limit or other limits that
Yeah.
removed, okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. I kind of want to talk about your team a little bit. Kind of go into that if you wouldn't mind. You just you don't got to give names, but like, how many people do you have on your team, and what are each of their like their jobs?
Yeah, I would say that we have a dozen people there. So we have backend, we have front end, we have designer, we have product manager, and we have QA lead, QA team, and we have operation team, marketing. So it is pretty awesome team, which yeah, almost 20 people here.
Wow. And how many devs would you say you guys have, or is everyone kind of like that role?
Devs, it
Developers.
will be yeah half of everything. So
Wow.
yeah, 9 or 10.
That's a lot of devs.
Yeah, it's
And
a lot. So that's why we build things so fast, right? We can support simultaneously not only the swap. Okay, anyone will recognize us by okay, it's a DotSwap, it's a swap, but we also build awesome tools that work on rooms protocol. You can
yeah,
see, yeah, we have not only swap, but we have market, right? That kind of market. You can
yeah.
purchase and list your rooms across 3 different major markets in one click, which is pretty awesome. You can sweep the button of 3 markets at the same time. You don't have to switch between 3 tabs to find out which is cheaper and okay how large the transaction will be. Okay, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I love your UI. It's absolutely amazing. I love the way your site looks and feels. It definitely reminds me of the ones that are on Ethereum and stuff like that. So you guys did a great job. I love your roadmap. The UI is just the user interface is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, we constantly change that. Yeah,
I've
to
noticed. I've
fast
noticed
of the
it
user, right?
updates. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, man.
So what are you guys most excited about for the future of DotSwap?
So I think the best part of it is that it starts to get more traction from the projects and users. So if there are more projects that connect to us, it will create somehow the network effect that can greatly increase the value to our user. So I was think that those of it is very important um, as well as other projects that we collaborate together to create a vivid ecosystem. And we can do more, like we can connect different L2s, so we can build bridges between L2s. So that is the future that we are foreseeing. So on BTC layer 1, there will be always needs. It is not like everyone will go to L2 and nobody will go to L1. No, there will be always needs for L1, and we can explore that. We can help the user, help the projects, help L2s to build more liquidity, to make the tokens, all the liquidity flows between different applications and on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
Yep.
I truly believe that like a lot of the big Bitcoiners and a lot of the guys who hold a lot of Bitcoin, they only like to go into the dollar and then back to Bitcoin, right? They like to play the 4-year cycle game. So like I don't think we need like trading like everyone thinks like Solana has of trading just nonstop 500 trades a day. A lot of people just want to do trade in February and then trade again in November, right? And I think you guys have amazing sight for that, especially now that you guys have NUSD. You guys have a stable coin, Jack Lou's project trading on here. So I think that that is huge for Bitcoin. And I think it's only a matter of time before that gets to a lot of these maxis who, like I said, just like to go from stablecoin to Bitcoin back to a stablecoin.
Yeah, you don't have to bear some counterparty risk. If it is like when you deposit into a centralized exchange and go through all the KYC, all those process,
Exactly.
right? And you can just swap using DotSwap. And that good part is that you use the swap itself is still traceable because it is a atomic swap. So through this way, if there are some electric activity there, so it still can be tracked.
Yeah. Okay, so this is my last question for you. What is your message to builders for them to know if they are a right fit for DotSwap integration?
So I would say that we welcome to explore every possibilities that can take advantage of the UTXO model and the SIG hashes, all those technique on UTXO. So we are welcoming every projects that want our help. Maybe it's not just their tokens can be traded or embedded. So we can build APIs for them. We can build swap for them. So multiple ways that we can help builders, help developers, so they can just come to us to ask what they need. Then we can figure out how we can help them. So this way, I see more integration with projects creates more value for our user, right?
You guys heard it. If you are a builder in the Bitcoin ecosystem and you are dealing with runes and you would like an API integration or a conversation, reach out to DotSwap. And what is the best way, Lin, for them to reach you?
Okay, you can just go to Twitter to have DM to our DotSwap or to me. It's just okay.
All right. And Shizzy and I will make sure to put their Twitter contact information in the notes of the show, and that's where you can reach them out.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And any last words, Lin, for our community? If anything you can give us?
So never give up on the decentralized feature and never give up on the scalable vision of what we can build, right? It has a lot of possibilities, and not to be fooled by someone tell you that Bitcoin cannot scale or Bitcoin doesn't have smart contract, or we only do transactions but not contracts, not fancy things of Bitcoin, right? So it is what my words is that we continues contribute to the ecosystem to build amazing product, to deliver products to our user. That is our vision and our value.
Yeah, perfectly said. Yeah, couldn't have been said any better. Okay, Lin, we thank you for your time today, and we look forward to having you on again in the future as your product progresses as well. So we appreciate your time, and we will talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you, Shizzy. Thank you, Yagobi.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Absolutely amazing. Like you said, we met him in Nashville, and it was absolutely amazing time. Like he took the picture with the guy from Orange, Damon from Orange. So that was really cool. It was really cool hanging out with him, and he's it's really cool kind of getting
interacting in
at the
person.
place, interacting in person, and kind of getting that feel of the person inside. And that was definitely something that Lin definitely showed us. Just a great guy.
Well, and also what was impressive, first of all, his last words there, which was pretty much aligned with what he told us what his past was. He's been working on Bitcoin since 2016, guys. I didn't know this. And for me, that makes me look at DotSwap differently. It makes me look at DotSwap as the founder has been working in the Bitcoin ecosystem since 2016, hasn't given up, has moved to different ecosystems to try different things to do exactly what he said at the end, not to give up and to figure out how to scale. So I really thought this interview was very genuine and definitely, made me look at DotSwap at another notch up after this discussion. And I'm bullish even more on DotSwap after that.
I agree. All right, guys, that's our show. If you guys wouldn't mind, go and check out ordinalrevolution.com. We have some of the best articles there. If you know someone new just getting into the space, send them our website. They got articles from all the way back from last year, so check that out. And we do have some of the best merch as well. Go check that out on ordinalrevolution.com.
Yep. And then if you do get a minute, please check out our partners. We have BitPerp, which is a perpetual DEX that's going to be launching on the Bitcoin Layer 2 Botonics, supposedly sometime in the fall. We will update you guys as soon as we get more information, but they are also doing a traders competition here in the next 2 weeks, and we will give you more information on that. Also, Ordinal Hive, which is the blur of Bitcoin being built on Merlin Chain. They are in their beta version of their site. Go over to their Discord, ask to be let into the beta version, and start earning points now. And then Fluid Tokens, which is a decentralized runes limit order type DEX. They are builders from Cardano that has the experience. And right now, if you interact with their DEX, you will earn points to get a free Fluid Pass airdrop. That airdrop ends in 6 days. So make sure you go get your points for that. And then finally, Verothium DEX, which is a Bitcoin Layer 1 focused DEX on Merlin Chain, is in their beta version right now and should be announcing soon once they are launching to public. And that is it, guys. We appreciate you guys spending time with our partners.
And we're live Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 4 p.m. UTC. We're live Monday to Friday. We'll be live all week next week. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Ordinal Revolution. Let's go.